Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
So, you just started using LinkedIn Premium. Now what? Well, on your premium company page, you noticed around 7.5 times more page engagement and 5 times more page views. Well done. And now, new clients are messaging you. All because you're using LinkedIn Premium, which helps you get the business growth you want. Think big, small business. Think big. Start your free trial at linkedin.com/premium small business. That's linkedin.com/premium small business.
Hey, this is Steve from the band The Word66. You're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast with my pal, my buddy, Bruce.
1, 2, 3, 4. The Brutally Delicious podcast. The Brutally Delicious podcast. The Brutally Delicious podcast. The Brutally Delicious podcast.
So let's start right here with why don't you give us the 2-sentence elevator boardroom pitch about Word 66, and then we'll jump in and see where we go.
Okay, the Word66 is basically a Christian hard rock band spreading the good word of God in and positive messages in all the music that we write.
Nice. Perfect. So I was unaware. I like doing this show a lot because I find new bands that I've never heard of and, get to listen to stuff while I'm prepping. And I had not heard of you and actually dig what I heard. And what's been the response to some of the stuff so far, like with 37 Miracles? And has the response been pretty good?
On 37 Miracles, I think the response has been, to be honest with you, a little bit on the lighter side for me. But as far as the band goes, this is our third EP that we're just releasing now. Mm-hmm. And all of our songs so far, except for one, have reached #1 somewhere in the world.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we've charted a ton, and I have to tell you too, Bruce, that a lot of the charting and stuff is in the non-Christian world as well.
Fair enough. I've been so I know you have no idea anything about me, but I am a filmmaker, and I grew up in Assemblies of God and evangelical, all kinds of stuff. So I was really in tune with a lot of those. Back in the day, it was only in Christian record stores you could find those records, right? I mean, you couldn't find, I don't know, trying to think who I used to listen to, but like Barron Cross or somebody, you weren't finding those in Record Town or Sam Goody. But it's changed dramatically now, right? I mean, everything is just, I don't even know if Christian bookstores exist.
I think there might be a few left, but yeah, it's definitely harder to find, I would say. It's funny because I was recently on one of the socials, and I was trying to do some stuff, and I was putting in some Christian bands, and nothing was coming up. I put in some of the more popular ones, like you were just saying. There's only like 2 that came up, like Petra, right, and Switchfoot were like the only 2 right, that came up. So all these other bands that I personally I like to listen to and I follow and I really dig, I put in all these bands, man, and none of them would come up.
I loved Saint. Saint was one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's another good band. Yeah.
And I briefly did some stuff with Messiah Prophet back in, I don't know, 83? I don't know. They were like a one-album band out of Pennsylvania somewhere.
Right. Well, the Christian world is definitely not mainstream by any stretch of the imagination. So, like I was saying, how I was doing searches on one of the socials and stuff, and nothing was coming up. So there's a lot of people out there that have even no idea that Christian rock bands exist.
And that was going to bring me to my next point, and by no means am I trying to interview myself, but I did a documentary about 10 years back now called Metal Missionaries, and it's a really deep dive into extreme Christian metal bands from around the globe. Yeah, and people didn't know a lot of that existed.
Yeah, and we're hoping, we're considered a crossover band, so we're hoping to spread the word because we do get a decent amount of radio play in some of the hardcore stations, the heavy metal hardcore
Right.
as well, and I love that because it's such an opportunity to spread the word to maybe some people that really need to hear it.
Right. And I feel like Striper blew that door wide open, right? I mean, they took that to the next level. We had all the bookstore stuff, and they might have been the first, I think it was Enigma Records or something, but the first
Yes.
really like MTV Christian darlings, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, they were definitely a focal point for the Christian rock. And I don't know if you know this or not, but they're still thriving, man. I mean, they're
Yeah.
still they're
I've had
still
Michael on
putting
a
out
couple times.
yeah, I mean they're still putting out albums like weekly, it seems.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, he doesn't give up, and he's also got all these side projects, and now they're doing a Christmas worship album or something. Yeah, they do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So let's get into your stuff then. How do you think the juxtaposition of uplifting themes and heavy music impacts the listeners emotionally?
We're hoping that it will. Because like I said, we're a crossover band, so we are fortunate and blessed to be able to get played on a lot of other stations. I've played on a ton of indie stations, and of course the Christian stations as well, and the like I said, some of the hardcore stations. And I always like to say that there may be people out there that kind of really need to hear the message. So I'd like to say that if you're someone out there that happens to be listening to this and your life is in turmoil, man, and you just don't know what to do, you've tried everything, and you know the definition of insanity, right? So it's like you've tried everything. So maybe this is a possibility for you to maybe look into. So maybe you'll hear our music or something like that and go, "Oh, okay, I really dig this music. It's good and
Right.
it's cool. I like the message." And another thing I always like to mention too is that if you are a metal person and you don't really know the Christian hard rock metal world, you're kind of depriving yourself of some really great music, man.
Yeah.
Stuff that you can really add to your playlist. I mean, so you could listen to some stuff, and like you were saying too, I mean, there's some really hardcore metal bands out there. Used to,
Right.
you got that in the Christian world, and people aren't aware of such. And if you're into that kind of music, man, it could be a stepping stone for you to maybe improve your life.
I think it's come a long way, right? Because I remember growing up, you had your saints and your whatever, but you had so much crap. And forgive me for saying this, but I think a lot of early Christian entertainment was absolute crap. I mean, the movies were crap. Everything was horrible. And so it kind of got a bad rap from the get-go because it was like, let's just play crappy music and sing Jesus lyrics and, we'll be doing something. But I think it did a lot of damage.
And I think too, a lot of people that don't really understand the kind of music that we're talking about now, they kind of think when you mention Christian music, they probably think of gospel,
Right.
for instance, which is so different from Christian rock, man.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's like night and day. So I think people are thinking like, oh yeah, no, I wouldn't listen to that because they're thinking that that's what it's going to be like. And if they would just give it a little shot and pull up some of those bands and check out some of the music, they may be like, wow, this stuff is really good.
Right. Even taking the message aside, going back to my point earlier, it's good music and,
Yes.
Good or positive lyrics or whatever. But you don't even have to agree with the lyrics. You can listen to good music for good music, right?
Absolutely. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't even know we're a Christian band, so they just
Right.
listen to the music and they're digging the songs, which is great. And that's perfect.
How do you think your form of storytelling serves as a well, actually, how do you think your songwriting serves as a modern day storytelling for the audiences searching for meaning in turbulent times?
So we always have a good message that we're sending out there. So I like to sometimes I'll throw in a little bit of scripture in there too, and it's a lot of the music I write too is it's me as a person, man. I mean, it's like I'm not someone that's got like this beautiful, rosy, fantastic life, man. You know what I mean? It's like it's not like I found God and it was like, woo.
Right.
It's like my life is so beautiful now. Everything is so perfect. I have no worries. I have no fear. I have no things that
Right.
come up in other people's lives, and that's not true. There's always going to be questions of things that you in life, and some of the music that I write too, it says that I know you've got issues and you got problems, but just let you know that there's other options for you. We have one of the new songs that'll be coming out on the record. It's actually going to be the next single. It's called "I'll Be There." And basically, what it is, it's about God talking to a person saying, I know that life isn't easy and you feel you deserve better than this, but I just want you to know that I'm there with you.
Wow. How do you think? Well, so do you feel a sense of responsibility then to your listeners when you're writing these lyrics, or you just kind of writing what you feel and hope it resonates?
I feel it's a responsibility to God. For me, Bruce, this was a calling. So about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something around there, I had this calling, man, that I felt that this is what my purpose was. Everybody's created with a purpose in this life, whether you know it or not. And I believe that this was my purpose, is to write music that will glorify God and will send a good message out to people. So it's more of an obligation and a labor of love for me to write these songs for
Right.
our Lord and Savior,
And so, even if you're not interested in the message, you're from whatever other faith, it's still in the end uplifting music and positive music for the really crappy times we're all dealing with, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well put. Yes.
I mean, because you could be, any other faith and still get something out of this, I think, because it's positive, right?
Yeah, and a lot of this kind of stuff too. A lot of this the hard rock music. It's not the most uplifting stuff. It's not. You're writing about lost love. You're writing about sex. You're writing about my life sucks. I want to kill myself.
Right.
It's all that kind of stuff. So we're always sending out a positive message. So even subliminally, if you listen to it, maybe it's uplifting. Hopefully.
Okay. Let's see. So, according to your bio, you rediscovered your purpose through music after a period of permanent loss. In what ways do you think stories of creative rebirth and finding purpose resonate with your listeners, and how might they inspire others to pursue their own miracles or second chances?
Yeah, my story, Bruce, is that basically I got divorced, and that's when I felt that God had called to me to now. Okay, now you got some free time, and so why don't you pick up your guitar and start writing some music for me? So that's how it started, really, for me. As far as I think, like I said, there's a lot of people out there, and I've been there. I've been in that place before. There were several years back too that I felt that my life just absolutely sucked, man, and I just didn't know what to do. And it just so happens that I ran into this friend of mine, and he was telling me about church and everything. And the thing that he did, which was really smart, was that he turned me on to some Christian music. He's like, hey, man, there's some really cool Christian bands I'd like you to listen to. And like I was mentioning earlier, I was like, Christian rock,
Right.
what do you mean? Is there's such a thing? And then, so he turned me on to these bands, and I was like, wow, this stuff is really good. I really, before you know it, I was, back in the day when, you were ordering CDs in the mail and stuff like
Right.
that. Do you remember that? Was that like the BMG Club or something like that? And, all of a sudden I was like ordering like these billion CDs and stuff. And so it's really important, like you said, to have a good message out there. The world is kind of crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on, and people are having issues. I mean, the inflation. I mean, there's people out there that are probably really struggling to just to pay their rent and their bills, and life is a bummer for them, man. And so a good
Mental
positive
health
message
is a big concern too.
It's not a positive message is not a bad thing.
Right. What's the plan? Are you taking this out on the road at all?
Yeah. Yeah. Toward the end of the year, we'll probably be out and doing some shows.
And then going forward from here, are you going to be doing like the new industry standard with single video or something every couple 6 weeks, or how does that work out for you?
Yeah, it's so we recorded this 5-song EP, 37 Miracles, and so we've got 5 songs. We might add a 6th before it's actually comes out. So we have some really good management now. We're with a PCM Management, which is this guy Paul Crosby, who used to be the drummer for Saliva for like 20 years. So
Yeah.
he's our manager, and he has a plan, and he wants us to release a new record, like you said, every couple of months or so. So we're in the process right now of working on that song I mentioned, the power ballad called "I'll Be There." We should be shooting a video for that, hopefully in the next week or two, as well. And we're very excited about it because it's got, not only does it have a really great message, like I mentioned, about that almost everybody can relate to, having struggles in life, and just God's saying, hey man, I know that life is like this, but I just want you to know that I'm there for you. And I think that's something that almost everybody can relate to.
Right. No, I 100% agree. And then as far, you said you're working in tour, I'm all over the place. Are you one of those bands that's always writing then because you have that kind of deadline?
Not really.
Really?
I have to be in writing mode. Honestly, I haven't written a song in a little while now, and I've got some songs that I, when I put my guitar on and stuff like that, turn on the amp, and I go to my, these little riffs that I got, that I've come up with, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a really cool song. But then it kind of ends there, So I have to be in writing mode, to have a piece of paper and a pen handy too. So then the lyrics will come to me, and the riffs will come to me. But it's not a thing that happens all the time for me.
Right. Do you approach records then with a theme in mind, or does it all just come like hodgepodge and you work it all in together?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's a theme. Although the last record that we did, Rock and Roll Preaching, there was this guy that he did a review with us, and he was saying that it almost seems like a bit of a conceptual kind of record. And I kind of feel that way a little bit too, because the way the album goes along, the 5 songs. But yeah, I mean, we don't really have a plan.
Right.
It's a matter of when you're getting ready to go in the studio also to figure out which songs you want to record.
Right.
So it's not like I go, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's been the response to 37 Miracles? Been pretty good?
It's been decent. I gotta be honest with you. I'm kind of disappointed. I thought a lot more would be happening with the record. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I'm a straightforward guy, man. I say it like it is.
And I think it's so hard to stay above the noise, even, I talk to huge bands as well as, not so huge bands, and everybody's struggling to stay above the noise. Even in this podcast space, there's so much content and there's so much, and people have the attention span of gnats.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I was thinking that the premise of the song was really cool because a lot of people don't know this, but as per the Bible, even if you Google it and you put up how many miracles did Jesus perform, it'll say 37. And I remember I was at church and hearing a sermon one time, and the pastor mentioned that Jesus performed 37 miracles, and I just thought that was so cool, man. I was like, 37 miracles. I got to write a song about that someday, So
Right.
I just thought it was such a cool idea and everything too, that I really thought it was going to get a little bit more, have a little more success on the Christian side, but probably because it's so biblical, because I mentioned about 15 of his miracles in the song.
Oh yeah.
That maybe it's really turning off the non-Christian audience.
Right. So then here's the big question. At the end of the day, even if there's 5 people listening, and I'm not saying that's the case, are you still doing this? Is this still in your DNA?
Probably more like 4 people.
Right.
5 would be great. I don't think we've gotten there yet.
But this is in your
Yeah.
DNA, right?
Yeah, it's again, I believe it's my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I've had
Right.
this conversation with a lot of people before, and they're like, well, let's say you don't get much success. But the one thing they said is, what if you touch one person? What if there's one person that's listening to your music and maybe they're thinking of something, doing something bad or whatever, and maybe just by some chance they hear your music and they want to know more and it kind of changes their point of view. you know, that's a winning situation right there.
Music is a great vehicle to convey a lot of that stuff.
Yes. Music is powerful, man. I mean, how many times have you heard a song and go like, "Oh yeah, man, that brings me back to I remember
To the
that when
minute.
that happened."
To the minute you're back in high school, like in shop class, and you hear like a Journey record, whatever it is, you're like,
Yeah.
holy cow, I'm right there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Music is powerful, man.
Yeah, nothing like it at all.
Yeah.
If
What
fans
would
want
life
to
be
find you,
without it?
yeah, if fans want to find you, where can they do so?
Everywhere. We're on all your socials, your Facebook and your Twitter and your Instagram. It's a little different because sometimes we're like the word 66, other times we're the word SIXTY. SIX because that wasn't available. someone
Right.
someone stole that from us before we got to it. But we can be found there. And of course we're on all your streaming platforms, your Spotify's, your Amazons and your Deeters,
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so now for the important parts of the interview. You ready?
Oh, here we go. All right.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I am a pescatarian. So,
At some point you
Sure.
had a hot dog. Is it a sandwich?
I've never liked hot dogs, to be honest with you. So, yeah, why not? It's bread and meat. So, sure, let's call it a sandwich.
Is cereal a soup?
Cereal a soup? No.
It has to be. Where's your hang up there?
Because it crunches.
Sorry?
It crunches. Cereal.
So yeah, but what
Cereal
if you had like
crunches.
carrots? What if you had like carrots and stuff?
Carrots, potatoes, all that kind of stuff.
Or celery, that makes it crispy, right?
Yeah, I guess so. That's another thing too, is I've never really been a soup eater. I don't really do hot
Man,
stuff.
you're killing my interview here.
I know I don't do hot stuff. I really don't do. I don't do coffee. I don't do tea. I don't do soup.
Oh, you're killing me.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. Yeah.
If you would have probably said that ahead of the interview, it would have been one question. Hey, how you doing? And we're out.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, that's nice to meet you. Give me that
Right.
one sentence, and okay, bye.
Yeah. If last one, if you're stranded on a deserted island, assuming you have solar power or some kind of thing, what 3 records are you taking with you?
I'm gonna go back a couple years. So, it's funny because I was talking to a friend the other day, and then all of a sudden I was like, I need some Pink Floyd. It's just like my favorite Pink Floyd album is Animals,
Yeah.
and such a great concept album, man. I mean, and you listen to it from start to finish. It just kind of takes you on a journey. So I would have to say maybe Animals, because I listened to it, and man, I was getting into it. It was great. I haven't heard that album in so many years. Another album I think is a fantastic album is Surfing with the Alien from Joe Satriani.
Yeah.
That's another one that's kind of like the way they have it. It's kind of like a concept. It kind of flows in a certain way, and I think it's just genius. And
Yeah.
I think that's the record that really got Joe a lot of attention.
Right.
So that's 2, and then the third one, I don't know, maybe Heaven and Hell from Black Sabbath.
Yeah, that's a great record.
Got Dio, his first record with those guys, and
Yeah, I think for me, my favorite Sabbath Dio record is Mob Rules, though. I love Mob Rules.
that's a great one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, either one of those records would work.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate you having me.